Ukraine's $620 million drone strike shatters Russia's untouchable power grid near Moscow. A low curtain of winter fog hung over the forest as the night stayed still, the power station humming quietly in the distance like a mechanical heartbeat. For a moment, everything in the district seemed suspended in an unusual calm that even the cold could not disturb. Then, without warning, the first alarms shattered the silence, and Shattura's quiet night collapsed into chaos. Today at 2:13 a.m., just 120 kilometers east of the Kremlin, the initial Ukrainian Kamikaze drone skimmed low over frost-coated pines, hugging the terrain so closely its outline nearly dissolved into the shadows. The drone's profile allowed it to avoid early detection and penetrate Moscow's protective belt, yet it moved with confidence, shaped by detailed pre-mission planning. 5 more drones followed at irregular intervals, arranged in a staggered pattern engineered to scramble automated Russian tracking systems. All 6 pressed toward the Shattura power station, the largest thermal plant feeding Moscow's eastern grid. Long considered immune to small precision strikes, the station was regarded as a hardened asset. Tonight, Ukraine intended to demonstrate how outdated that assumption had become. Inside the perimeter, the power station ran with practiced monotony. Transformers thrummed steadily, their metal casings radiating heat from tanks filled with tens of thousands of liters of mineral oil. Transmission pylons crackled faintly. Steam curled from rooftop vents. Shattura had survived harsh Soviet winters, periods of neglect, modernization cycles, and even a fire. Yet it had never encountered anything resembling the coordinated aerial intrusion now racing toward it through the dark. At 2:14 a.m., an alarm sounded inside a concealed bunker 1.2 kilometers away. A Pantsir S-1 air defense unit activated abruptly as its radar picked up a contact already inside the engagement envelope. The operators straightened with shock. Nothing had alerted them earlier. No long-range cue, no layered detection, no early warning handoff. The radar showed a threat appearing where none should have been. Their disbelief lasted only seconds before training pushed them into action. Operator 1 hit the engagement command. A 57 E6 interceptor missile shot upward, cutting a spiral through the frozen air before locking onto its target. In a flash of orange light above the pine canopy, drone number 1 disintegrated. For 2 seconds, it appeared the danger had passed. Then 3 new contacts appeared, then 2 more. The brief sense of control evaporated. Shattura was no longer facing a single intruder, but a coordinated swarm. Small, agile, and designed to defeat the very system attempting to stop it. The Pantsir crew opened fire with its twin 2 A38M cannons, launching 30mm rounds at more than 2,500 per minute. Branches splintered, snow erupted, but drone number 2 banked sharply into the trees, slipping beneath the radar beam. Drone number 3 skimmed the terrain, weaving so low it seemed to ride the contours of the ground. Drone number 4 vanished behind the perimeter wall, a phantom lost to visual tracking. Drones 5 and 6 split wide, circling around the cooling towers to set up fresh attack vectors. Each Russian countermeasure was met with an immediate Ukrainian adaptation. Inside the cabin, overlapping alarms created an audio blur, radar pings, thermal flickers, proximity alerts. The operators struggled to maintain coherent situational awareness. Their defensive doctrine, built to intercept cruise missiles and aircraft, offered little guidance against a swarm of fast, semi-autonomous munitions diving unpredictably through blind spots. The operator reported that the returns were too small for reliable tracking. Operator 1 shouted. He requested information about the second jammer's status. He requested the location of the backup unit. There was no response, and no backup. The drones closing in were hardened against Russia's typical counters. Their inertial navigation resisted jamming. Their terrain-following profiles were mapped through satellite imagery. Laser altimeters allowed them to fly just above the ground. FPV links frequency hop too quickly for Russian EW units to suppress. They were moving at nearly 110 mph, faster than the operators could evaluate new threats. Drone 2 emerged again, rising sharply to clear a scaffold. The Pantsir turret snapped toward it, firing, but too late. The drone vanished behind the turbine hall. Drone 3 followed, keeping below the firing arc. Drone 4 swept under the cannon's reach entirely. The Pantsir could track multiple targets, but its ability to neutralize more than one at close range was effectively zero. Ukraine had engineered its approach to expose that flaw. He reported that the drones were now within critical range. He urgently called for an additional battery, but none was available. The layered system Russia trusted had been optimized for conventional threats. Kamikaze drones hugging the ground slipped through every gap. SHATTERS' defenses were being peeled apart layer by layer. By 2:15 AM, only 2 blips remained on the main display. One circling in from 80 meters, the other scraping in from just 15 meters above the snow. The operator recognized instantly that he was being forced into a losing choice. Target the high one, and the low drone would strike the transformers. Target the low one, and the high drone would reach the turbine hall. Either outcome risked shutting the plant down. The commander ordered immediate engagement. Instinct dictated the next move. Operator 1 selected the western contact, the higher drone. The cannons roared. 4 shells found their mark. Drone number 5 burst into sparks and fell in pieces across the snow. 1 threat down. 4 remained. 2 approaching transformers, 2 still unaccounted for, but maneuvering for the same opportunity. They had waited for the moment when the Pantsir realigned its turret. Drone number 6 surged from behind the administration building, screaming forward at barely 10 meters altitude. Operator 1 swung the turret and fired. The shells tore through gantries and snowbanks, but missed entirely. At 2:16 AM, the attack reached its final stage. 2 Ukrainian drones locked onto Transformer 3 and its massive 50,000-liter reservoir. The remaining pair targeted Transformer 1, filled with 40,000 liters of mineral oil. 200 meters, 150. A tracer round clipped drone number 3's wing, tearing off part of its frame. Its autopilot corrected instantly. Impact. 2 explosions ripped through the night as the drones struck Transformer 3. A concussive series of thumps shook buildings across the district. Oil vaporized in an instant, igniting a massive fire column. Steel casings tore open. Copper windings burst outward in molten strands. Seconds later, the remaining drones slammed into Transformer 1, triggering another eruption that engulfed the switchyard. Heat from the twin infernos ignited Transformer 2, creating yet another towering fire plume. Temperatures soared past 1,000 degrees. Structural components buckled. Output collapsed to 0. Power failed across the nearby town of 33,000 residents. Heating units died. Residential heating systems ceased operation. Workers scrambled with extinguishers and foam lines, but transformer fires cannot be extinguished conventionally. They burn until nothing remains to consume. Emergency mobilization began instantly. 137 personnel, 49 vehicles, foam tenders, water cannon trucks, boiler trucks, a specialized Moscow firefighting train, hazard units, and police cordons moved in. Fire crews drenched nearby structures to prevent secondary detonations as burning metal fragments hurtled skyward. By dawn, the inferno was contained, but the destruction was absolute. The transformer yard no longer existed. 3 transformers had collapsed into slag. Transmission lines sagged in twisted arcs. A section of the switchyard floor had cratered inward. The control room had been rendered unusable. SHATTERS' output was gone. The regional loss was staggering, with early assessments estimating over $620 million in damage, wiping out a critical node in Moscow's power grid and removing infrastructure that would take years to restore. By 6 AM, Moscow publicly announced that the fire was contained. Heating is stable, no threat to residents. But residents had already seen the flames tower over the skyline. They felt the cold creeping into their homes. Ukraine had struck a major power station just 75 miles from Red Square. A myth had fallen. The myth that Russia's heartland was unreachable. And this strike was only one part of a wider assault. 75 drones hit Belgorod, Bryansk, Ryazan, Nizhny Novgorod, and Voronezh. No defensive network, no matter how modern, could cover that many angles at once. Russia's decision to concentrate its best systems on the front lines left its interior exposed. The Kremlin now faced a harsh equation. Every S-400 moved inward, weakened the frontline defense. Every Pantsir diverted to infrastructure left armored units vulnerable. Every shift opened new seams for Ukraine to exploit. Russia had to be lucky every single day. Ukraine needed only one opportunity. And on this night, Ukraine was not lucky. It was prepared. The strike on SHATTERS delivered more than a symbolic warning. It inflicted over $620 million in direct losses, a financial blow as severe as the strategic one, proof that even Russia's most protected assets can be reached, burned, and broken. The burning transformers at SHATTERS are another chapter in a war reshaped by autonomy, improvisation, and asymmetric strategy. Yet this chapter is unlikely to be the last. Will Russia adapt quickly enough, or is this strike only the beginning of deeper incursions into its heartland? Share your thoughts with us and subscribe to watch more videos like this.